Well, hello everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to part two. It's okay to not be okay. I am Reverend Cece Jackson, and I'm excited about this opportunity to share with you on today. Just a few housekeeping things. I want you to go back if you haven't already and looked at part one of this series that I'm doing. I want you to just take a few moments and just go through it so it lends a little bit more context to this part too. I am the assistant pastor of the 7th Street Memorial Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia, but by vocation, I am also a clinician. So what I wanted to do was to share some very practical tools, techniques that I felt might help us through this difficult time. And these are some things that I have shared in intimate settings as well as in group settings to kind of help us navigate what it is that we're going through. So I'm using for a resource the 7 stages of grief. From Social Work Techie. And of course, I just have an affinity for sevens. So again, it's the 7 stages rather than the traditional 6 stages of grief because I really love how they spelled out all of the stages. So this is what I'm using as a point of reference. So coming on with part two, I had a few questions and I tried to group as many of them together as I could about what a few people wanted me to take a look at. Overall, I want to thank you all for tuning in, for your love and your support, and for saying that helped you, because that means a lot to me to know that this was something that was helpful to you as you process everything that's going on in our world now and everything that you might be going through personally. So it meant the world to me to get the inboxes that I received to say, hey, this makes sense to me, or I get it now, or this has helped me. That meant the world to me because that's what this is all about. I do want to encourage you again, as I did at the onset of the first um, the first live, is that navigating these things can be difficult, and there's no reason why you have to deal with this by yourself. If you feel as if you need some assistance or you need some help, I want you to reach out. I want you to reach out to a professional counselor, a therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist. I want you to reach out and get the help that you deserve to help you navigate through these moments. It's okay to not be okay. And it's even okay to reach out for assistance and for help. Reaching out for help has absolutely nothing to do with your faith. What it's saying is that I am going to take care of me holistically, mind, body, and spirit. So I do want to encourage you with that. So I'm going to go through a couple of questions that I received. And again, if you need some assistance, let me do this now. You can call, the hotline is available to assist you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-TALK. And that TALK is 8255. And if you're in the state of Virginia, 211. If you have insurance or don't have insurance, there are resources available to assist you. And you can, if you have insurance, you can call your insurance company and they will give you the name of providers that can help you walk through this. If you don't have insurance, all of us in the state of Virginia have something called a Community Services Board, a CSB, that offers free services. You just have to go through their intake. And even though we're in trying times right now, they are still doing limited intakes. So I don't want you to think that you are alone and you have to navigate this by yourself. Okay? All right. So the first question through stages 1 through 4 was, what if I feel all of these in one day? What if I feel all the stages in one day? So I just did stages 1 through 4, and stage 1 was shock and denial. Stage 2 was pain and guilt. Stage 3 was anger and bargaining. And stage 4 was the depression, reflection, loneliness stage. If you go through all 4 of these on one day, You are absolutely, unquestionably human. Okay? There is nothing wrong with you to experience all of these in one day. And let me just share something with you. I have 3 more to do today. So you may cycle through all 7 of those on one day. It just depends on where you are on that day. And you may find yourself getting to step 7, and then something happens and you're triggered and you go all the way back to 1. So allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to go through all of those stages and know that it's okay. There are stages that are built into the 7 to help you, to strengthen you, to be able to deal with the resolve of the reality of what it is that you're faced with. And remember, I said on yesterday that when you're grieving something, it doesn't have to be necessarily the loss of a person, it can be the loss of a thing. So as you're grieving, you may go through all of those stages because something triggers you, and you go through all of them. You may go through them quickly, you may go through them slowly. But if you're going through all of them, I want you to know that you are absolutely human and you are amazing and you can get through it. Okay. So it's nothing wrong with going through all of those phases. Number 2 said, what happens when I don't feel like talking? Honey, don't. You owe no one an explanation. If you do not feel like talking, if you don't feel like sharing, if you just need to search within and process it within, you don't owe anyone an explanation. I remember when my kids were younger and they would irritate me. And anybody who knows my kids know that my kids can irritate you, even now as adults. But let's move on from there. But I remember I used to put myself in timeout. And I used to put a note on my door that says, I'm not talking to anybody right now. I will put myself in timeout. And so that's what I encourage you to do. Put yourself in timeout. Put a note on the door. Leave a message on your phone that just says, I'm not available today. Leave a message, because you don't owe anyone an explanation about your feelings. Now, should you have that one person that you're accountable to? Did you call and say, hey, look, I'm not feeling it today, and you reach out and talk to them? Absolutely. But at times of grief or times of trouble, or times when things happen and people are legitimately concerned about us, they can overwhelm us to the point that we do shut down, especially in times of a death of a person. People are, and I want to believe this in my heart, people are so caring by nature that everyone just wants to reach out and let you know that you're not by yourself and you're okay, and that they're available to you. And sometimes getting those phone calls back to back to back to back can be overwhelming. So it's okay to not feel like talking. I would encourage you to have that one person, or maybe your tribe, that you check in with, so that they know that you're okay. But you don't have to return every phone call. You don't have to return every message. You don't have to try to acknowledge everyone's attempt to comfort you if you don't feel like it. Just be. Just be. Just be where you are. Feel what you feel. And it's okay to do that without having to give anyone an explanation about it. All right. Someone asked, how can I be cool and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose? Again, you're human. And so that will happen. Uh, we have things when we experience a trauma, our brain makes a note of it. And there can be something that happens that causes us to remember that trauma. One of my teachers explained it to me one time, and I'm hoping that I get this right. It's like our brain is a huge file cabinet, and all of our experiences are placed inside of this file cabinet. And if something happens that is similar to something that's already in the file cabinet, it can cause us to go right to that file and pull up everything that's in that file. That's just a kind of a really cute way of the way my teacher explained our brain working. So I say that to say that we have things that will trigger us, to go back to that file that's in our file cabinet and pull it out. And sometimes when we pull that information out, or we go back to that file, because again, I'm metaphorically speaking, if we go back to that file, it can bring back all of the emotions, all of the hurt, all of the pain, and it can send us right back into that cycle. It's normal, but the goal is to cycle through to this and to get to the seventh stage of this, which I'm going to do in a few moments. So if you wrote down stages 1 through 4, then get ready for 5 through 7. Okay, so it's okay if you feel that trigger that takes you back. It just means that wherever that trigger places you in these stages, you want to move back to the seventh stage. So just acknowledge where you are, deal with it for that moment, and then work towards getting to that place where you're comfortable, because remember, it's actually all about you. Okay. Oh, okay, this was a good one. So what if my doctor prescribes medication? Should I take it? Okay. Your struggle at that moment or that time with mental illness, or even a continuous struggle with mental illness, where you have gone to a medical doctor or a psychiatrist that has prescribed you medication to help you feel better and rebalance, is just like someone that has heart disease that takes medication for their heart on a daily basis, just like someone who has diabetes that takes medication to regulate their diabetes. It's just like someone who is dealing with cancer that may take treatments on a daily basis so that they can be well. Your mental health is just as important as your medical health. You should pay just as much attention to it. And if you are given something that's going to help your mental health get better, you should absolutely consider taking it. Let me push it. You should take it. I believe in prayer and prescriptions. I believe in that. I believe in prayer and prescriptions. And when I go to my doctor and I'm not feeling good, I love my doctor. And when my doctor says to me, hey, Cece, I think this might help you, I take the medication that my doctor prescribes because I trust my doctor. If you're going to a doctor that you have trust in, that you may be experiencing for the first time, this is a great time to build trust in them. If you have someone that has prescribed medication for you, I recommend that you take the medication. Now let's add to that, just a little addendum to that. Medication, any medication, has side effects. Medication affects all of our bodies differently. We know that. So what I suggest to you is, if you are going to start a new medication, that you do a couple of things. One, that you meet with a pharmacist, or you have they are amazing. Pharmacists are amazing. They allow you to have free consultations with them. That you go to your pharmacist, who can see all of your medications, and ask them, is there any potential that there may be some interactions with any other medication that I'm taking? That's what pharmacists are for. These people are amazing. They have skill, wisdom in medication, and they can look at it and they can help you and they can give you sound advice. That's the first thing. So go and get a consultation. The second thing that I would advise you to do is to write down how that medication makes you feel. So if you find yourself being drowsy, or you can't shake yourself out of it, or you don't feel right, then what you need to do is you need to let the doctor know, I know you prescribed this for me, but it doesn't have me feeling like I want to feel. So the doctor is always going to recommend that you take it for a couple of days to let your body get used to something new being inside of it. But if you go continuously, and let's say it's like day 8 or day 9, and you're still not feeling yourself, and you just don't feel like this is the right medication for you, I want you to call your doctor back and let your doctor know, because everything does not work for everybody. So you want to make sure that you are in constant communication with those that can help you to regulate what's happening inside of your body with the medication that has been prescribed for you. So again, I believe in prayer and prescriptions. I believe in taking medication. This is Reverend Jackson speaking. Let's be clear. This is Reverend Jackson speaking. I believe that if God has given someone wisdom to know some of the things that work great in helping me to regulate my body, then I am going to trust the wisdom in them. And then if it doesn't work, I'm going to let them know so that we can revisit it and find something that actually works for me. Taking medication for your mental health or feeling like you need assistance with your mental health does not mean, and this is going to be controversial, doesn't mean that you have a demon. It doesn't mean that you're going to hell. It doesn't mean that something is wrong with your mind and God can't use you. What it does mean is that you're human and that you recognize that I'm not feeling myself. I need a little help. And now I'm going to get the help that I need. Just like anyone who would get help or assistance for cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, or anything else. You're human. So, yes, I believe in taking medication. That's one of the last questions I have. What are some things I can do to manage my pain and grief? Okay, so there are a couple of things that I want to point out. One thing that you can do is acknowledge it, and that is huge. That's huge. When you acknowledge where you are in these stages, you've already started the process of healing and moving yourself forward. So the first thing that you need to do is acknowledge it. The second thing is that I suggest that you implement some type of routine in your life that helps you to achieve calmness or peace, or helps you to really focus on healing yourself from the inside out. So, Dr. Jessica Brown the other day did an amazing live on Facebook that I was able to catch. And during her live, she did some calming techniques. She did some meditational techniques. She did some deep breathing techniques. And as she was doing it, I engaged with her. I immediately started doing it with her. And she was like, I want you to take a deep breath in and breathe out. And it wasn't until I had fully engaged her in what she was saying and I started participating that I realized, oh my God, when is the last time that I actually took the time to intentionally breathe? When was the last time I did that? When was the last time that I intentionally practiced that level of mindfulness? So if you're watching me on Facebook, I want you to go like her page. Her page is Choices to Change, Dr. Jessica Brown, and you will see me forward stuff on my page from her. But she did this amazing live, and I would suggest you go out there and get it because she also gave some skills, some techniques, some things that you can use. Now, what are some of the things that I use? Some of the things that I use is I love meditation. I love my quiet space. I love silencing my mind. I do it, and people will say, "Oh my God, that's witchcraft." Whatever. I love to have a really good smelling candle. I love to be in a clean space. I love to silence my mind and just be mindful of everything that's happening in my body. I love deep breathing techniques that helps to calm me. It calms me. It releases tension in my muscles. I do at times participate in yin yoga. And these are things that you can actually go on YouTube and look up some of these things. But yoga is something that I do sometimes. I mean, I look crazy doing it. I don't look like they look, but I do feel better after I do it. You can exercise. You can put in a ritual of exercise. And I'm not talking about eating because that can be dangerous. So I don't want you to put in a exercise of eating, but you may just, want to get up and take a walk around the block or something like that. That will help you. So put put in place some type of ritual, exercise ritual, that can help you to be more mindful of you. So those are just a few tips that I can give you right now. YouTube, again, is a great place, and go out and like the page. Changes, choices to change. Dr. Jessica Brown, because she's always putting stuff out there that I feel will be beneficial. Okay? All right, so we're going back into our phases. We're at phase one, two, three, four, five. Phase five, the upward turn. So just a little recap. Yesterday we left on phase four, which was depression, reflection, loneliness. And we talked about one thing that you can do, one thing that I did, one thing that helped me when I was dealing with my stages. And that was very recent, a couple of days ago, that I began to think of something positive that my mom and I did together, or something that we shared together. And I began to smirk and I began to smile. And so when you hit phase five, which is the upward turn, it's that moment that in the midst of your grief, in the midst of your pain, in the midst of your hurt, you can find a way to smile in it. You can find something, that thing, that one little thing that kind of snaps you back, and you can remember all of the good things about whatever it is that you've lost. So it could be something, and I said this, vocation, and someone sent me a message about how they missed their vocation. It could be something that makes you smile when you think about the people that were there, or something that you did, or something that you accomplished. Those are the things that bring you joy, and that will put you on that upward turn. If you're thinking about a person, you can think about something that they may have said to make you smile, something that you laughed about, something that you may have that is a visual connection to them, being, or their presence being with you. Sometimes that visual connection, looking at their smile, reminds you that you can smile as well. So that is a very important phase. It sometimes takes a while to get there, so please don't rush yourself. I want to say this again: don't rush yourself through these phases. But I do want you to be mindful that there is a phase that happens where you find yourself on that upward turn. All right, phase six, or stage six, reconstructing and working through it. This is the phase where there's some type of resolve. And that resolve is that I have to move on. I have to move forward. I have to keep going. And when you get to that place of resolve, that you have to move forward, you have to keep going, then you start putting things in place to create a new normal of your life. And once we have experienced a trauma, just like what we're experiencing with this pandemic, our normal is completely different than our normal was a couple of weeks ago. And so now we have to start putting things in place to embrace a new normalcy. And that's okay. What we're doing is we're restructuring. We're building a bridge over the pain and the hurt, not saying that we don't acknowledge it anymore, but we're building a bridge back to a life that we can live to its fullest. And it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with finding a way to move forward. And it will cause you to have to restructure and work through. So this is where you find yourself seeking ways, um, seeking solutions to the problem, seeking ways to make things better. This is the phase where you begin working through it. This is a very difficult phase, but it's a manageable phase, because now you have to, and you will 9 times out of 10 be triggered. You have to go back to the place of hurt and place of pain and figure out a resolution to the problem, or restructure life as a result of that trauma. So that is the wonderful thing. Reconstructing and working through is something that you can absolutely do. And then the final phase, which I love this final phase, is acceptance and hope. This is the phase where you get um, to the reality that things are not going to change. This pain, this unbelievable pain that I'm in, um, is real. It's real. And with time, I will learn to manage it. It won't manage me as it is right now. I will learn how to manage it. And as I keep moving forward, as I keep resolving in my mind that I can do this, and restructuring and problem solving and using all of my skills and techniques and everything that I have put in place, there's hope that comes with the ability to see yourself as victorious in spite of this trauma and in spite of this pain. Now, is it difficult to get there? Absolutely. Absolutely. Honey, you are going to cry some tears. You're going to experience some dark moments, some dark times. You're going to be in those places where you don't want to talk to anybody or do anything. It's all part of the process. And the more you allow yourself to feel, to be, to experience the process, the more you can begin to navigate it so that the pain is not managing you. You can now manage your pain. And that's what we look for, the ability to manage this pain and move forward. And that comes in different forms and in different ways. It's not the same for everybody. Um, it's not going, the way someone else deals with their pain or their grief has nothing to do with how you deal with your pain and your grief, because your experiences, your context are totally different. So the way you navigate through these phases, the way you go through these phases are totally different than how someone else will. The reality is, and this is what we found with grief, and social work techie actually lays this out again in the 7 stages very well. We all go through these phases, whether we recognize it or not. There's not a situation or trauma that you've experienced that you don't see yourself or can find yourself in one of these phases. They're very real. They happen to all of us. They are a part of our life and human experience, but it also brings hope. It brings hope that beyond this trauma, beyond this horrific moment, beyond this moment that I never thought I would have to experience, there is hope, there is life, there is potential growth. So I hope that you understand that there is hope beyond the trauma, that you can get beyond this grief. What we are experiencing now with this pandemic is horrific. The pain, as a pastor, that I have to intentionally navigate on a daily basis is something I never thought I would have to do. I really felt like, um, I I didn't think it would be like this. Does that make sense? I didn't think it would be this painful. And I guess that's the empath in me, because when I scroll through my timeline and I see how many people have lost loved ones, and not all of them necessarily to COVID-19, some of them have lost their loved ones to natural deaths, whether it is, um, some other type of illness or an accident or anything of that nature. I never thought that I would experience so much death in a short period of time. And, I put up a post not too long ago that, sometimes people put up humor to get through their hurt and their pain. And I'm one of those people. I try to find humor in everything. I try to find a humorous moment that I can connect with my clients on to kind of help us to get through what may be a very, very difficult moment. But I find myself being so knocked off guard that I have to constantly recalibrate. I have to constantly pull myself back in because the pain is so prevalent. And, as a pastor, as a person who has dedicated her life to helping others. That's who I am. That's what I feel I was created to do. It hurts me to not be able to help people, to reach out to people, to hug and to console them the way I normally would. I've seen so many people that I know who have lost loved ones, and my inclination would be, to hug them, to hold them, to be at the funeral, to just show my face, to just say, I'm here. Um, and it's just hard that I'm and I recognize that I'm not by myself. I recognize that I'm not the only one that's feeling this, that there are a whole lot of us that have people that we love and care about, that we want to reach out to and hug them and hold them and just let them know that everything is going to be okay in our own way. And it's just during this time it's difficult to do that. So when I went back through my stages of grief again, as I was going through them with someone, I felt like maybe this would not only help them, but it was also helping me as well to manage the pain that has come with the reality that we're dealing with right now. So this is something that I wanted to share. I really pray that it was meaningful to you or helpful to you. If nothing else, it helped me. And I know that sounds selfish, but it helped me to once again process, because I find myself cycling through these stages sometimes on a daily basis. And sometimes it feels like I can get to acceptance and hope, and then I go right back to phase one, shock and denial, because I'll see something where someone else is in the hospital or someone else is sick. So there are days where I cycle through this a whole lot of times, and I try to get myself together. And I know that I'm not alone and by myself. So I wanted to share this with you. Thank you all for sharing it. Thank you all for the watch parties. Thank you all for the words of encouragement that you have inboxed me, or the words of encouragement that you have left on the post for me. I do read them. They do mean the world, and I am grateful for it. So I do want to say thank you again. I pray that during this difficult time that you will find peace, because peace is available, that you will find hope because hope is available, that you will reconnect with love because love is available as well, and that you will experience, even in the midst of dark moments, that you will experience some light, that you will experience some love. Be intentional about taking care of you. Be intentional about taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, nurturing your spirit. Be intentional about that. These are difficult times. And in order to get through this, you're going to have to remember to do that. So I want you to be intentional about it. Please understand that I love you. I do. Um, all of you all that are on my friend list, all of you that are receiving this. If nobody tells you that they love you, and I'm sure somebody has, because you are amazing. But I just want you to know that I love you, that I care about you, and I want the best for you. So thank you for letting me share. Take care of you. May God bless you on this Good Friday. We all know what happened on Friday, but early on Sunday morning. Did y'all hear that? That's the preacher in me. I'm just teasing. There's good news. There's good news. The cross is not the end. So I am excited about that. The cross is not the end. The cross, whatever cross you're carrying, that is not the end. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I just encouraged myself. I hope I encouraged you. I love you. Again, this is the 7 stages of grief. You can look it up. It's online. It's by social work techie. May say social work tech, because both of those are on there. But I encourage you to go out there, pull it offline, take a look at it, and just maybe use that to chart where you are. Go out and like Dr. Jessica Brown's page, choices to change, and look at that video that she did. I think that will be wonderful for you. Go out to YouTube, make sure that you connect with maybe some of those videos that they have for yoga and exercise and things of that nature, and connect with your family and friends, and let them know that you're okay and that you love them as much as you can. Okay. All right. So from time to time, I'll do something like this. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them or inbox me. And what I will do is if I get quite a few and you want answers to it, I may do another live. So thank you for your love. Take care of you. I love you all. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing day because you are amazing. All right. Bye.